Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Alvin York?
Alvin York?
Alvin York.
Is that the Chipmunks' last name?
No, but it is.
Theodore York?
It's their dad, Alvin York.
So, to be clear, you think that the dad of the Chipmunks' name is Alvin, and he named one of the Chipmunks Alvin, and then the other two, Theodore and
You can't name every
Simon.
kid after you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been done.
That's one way to make...
I mean, it has.
That's why middle names exist. That's one way to make sure the other two know their place, I guess.
Yeah, they came second and third.
Yeah, that's why he's always saying Alvin.
Alvin, yeah, because he likes him the most.
Okay,
He's
Alvin.
actually just saying his own name.
Yeah, he's so mad at himself for creating talking chipmunks.
Alvin!
Was that ever explored why they talk? Was that ever
I don't know.
Did
I
they
don't
ever get
think so.
spilled in some radioactive stuff or whatever?
There was never like the opening sequence to Powerpuff Girls.
They got fed after midnight or whatever crap happened to them. No one knows how they got there. Things I learned last night.
Let me tell you about Alvin York.
Sure, please do.
Okay, so Alvin York, he is arguably one of the most unlikely war heroes that the country of the United States has ever had.
Okay. Which war?
The war.
Well, that narrows it down, doesn't it?
Yeah. World War I.
Oh,
The war.
the Great War.
Yeah, the war. He was born in 1887 to one of those Tennessee families in the late 1880s.
To
One of those families.
you know.
I mean, you know what
One
I'm
of
saying.
those Tennessee families.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a normal, mid,
No, in the 1880s.
1880s.
1880s in Tennessee. So that family, their dad worked on a railroad. Their
Okay.
mom made all their clothes, and there was like 20 of the kids.
Okay.
That was their lifestyle. They each of them
Of
for some
everyone
reason,
in the 1880s?
huh?
Everyone in the 1880s, that's what their lifestyle was?
If they were in Tennessee.
Okay. Which part of Tennessee we talking?
Actually, I'm not totally sure. Fentress County, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I know where that is. Don't expand further.
it's no teeth zone.
All right. You better hope they don't got ears, too. Jeez.
That's a deep callback. Do you not remember that?
The no teeth zone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the Kelly Hopkinsville
Yeah,
encounter.
yeah.
Don't
I thought
ever
you-
look at me.
I thought you didn't remember
and
that.
see if I don't know which. Yeah, Kelly Hopkinsville, episode 12 of our podcast.
Yeah. When I drew a picture on the whiteboard that nobody saw because we were audio at the time.
Yeah, I saw it. No one listened to it either. We didn't have listeners. And we're losing them by the month
Okay, great. It's cool.
because of this.
So he was in the no teeth zone. Shockingly, had a full mouth of teeth. But his family, for some reason, all of his siblings, they did 9 months of school, and that was enough for them. So
Decided by who, I guess? Them?
I guess their parents
That's
were like,
enough.
9 months is plenty.
Yeah. You got to spend 9 months in the womb, 9 months in that room. That's the schoolhouse. And then you're ready to work on the railroad.
Yep. And then you're going to spend the rest of your months heading towards the tomb.
Jeez.
So their dad died in 1911. And when Alvin was 24, I think is how old he would have been at the time.
Okay.
His two older brothers had moved away. So it kind of made him the de facto father figure of the family.
Head of the house.
Yeah, the head of household. And it went to his head. He was excited to be the leader.
Oh, okay.
He just couldn't wait to be king.
All right.
No, interesting sidebar. His family, I was thinking about this when reading his lineage. Sometimes you forget just how not old America is.
Oh, yeah.
His mom.
He's probably got like a living grandkid.
Well, his mom's dad was a deserter in the Civil War, which is so his mom's dad changed his name.
Okay.
And then his mom's grandpa was a part of the original settlers of Tennessee, like from England, which is insane. This guy, World War I, which is a long time ago.
Sure.
But not that long ago.
Oh, I know.
And then his great grandfather settled Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's bonkers. Anyways, so he kind of became the de facto.
Well, it's the same way that like the year 2080 is closer to now than like the JFK assassination.
Yeah, that's not cool. I should that.
That's not cool. Okay. Yeah, time's weird, dude.
I hate it, man.
Well, I mean, that's why people in certain parts of the country, certain parts that rhyme with the mouth, are so deeply entrenched in their the South will rise again stuff, because
it wasn't that long
the
ago.
old people who were saying it was like their grandpa who was like, I fought for this stuff
and lost,
and I'm bitter,
Yeah, that is that's it's insane. Anyways, Alvin, he became the man of the house.
Okay.
So he went working for the railroad. And the pressure
all the day long.
All the day long. The pressure got to him. He became an alcoholic, and was prone to bar fights. I guess we should say saloon fights, because that was the time.
Tim just keeps going like the only thing he knows of 1800s is Silver Dollar City. Like you're just like saloon fights. And people were robbing trains. They'd be out there with a stick. And they'd be like, this is a stick up. And that's about all they do is just rob trains all day.
Rob trains and go look at the dead guy at that one place in Kansas.
That's it.
That's all there is to do. So
sometimes I am glad social media exists, because we don't got to go look at dead people anymore for fun. Now I can just pop on a Netflix series over a thing I don't want to watch. I mean, half of the things I watch on shows are I don't want to see it. Yeah, but at least I don't got to traverse the country to go see a dead guy.
Yeah. That makes no sense to someone who hasn't watched our back.
That's fine.
And it's just like, what?
I'm done creating content for new people. This one's for the.
This is for
the people.
Yeah. This is okay. So Alvin,
This is for me when I listen in 20 years in prison. Look around, Jaron. There's no windows. It's worth it though, isn't it? It's worth it.
Take your hand. Feel that spot on your side where you got shanked last night.
What are you talking about?
Wasn't it worth it, Jared?
I just for video people, he just goes, take your hand, and then puts his hand just softly on his belly. Like he was about to be like, and then rub your belly. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Feel that shank wound.
Shank wound?
Yeah, feel the shank wound. It was worth it, wasn't it?
That stab spot.
That stab stick. Petition to rename knives stab sticks.
Stop. Okay.
So Alvin, he was prone to fighting. He'd get drunk, he would fight people.
Mutual combat?
Not mutual combat. I don't think, at least. Who knows? Maybe some of them. But in one such fight, his best friend died. I don't think he was fighting his best friend.
I was wondering,
Him and his best friend got in a fight, and his best friend lost.
Yeah. How big of a person could I pick a fight with that before you would be like, I'm not going to help with this? You know what I'm saying?
I would help with whatever size person you.
You're so stupid. Dude.
I am. Here's the thing. I am way too confident in myself.
That's true. That's true.
And so if things went south in a moment, I'd be like, yeah, I can handle this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm too confident.
We would both get murdered.
We will both die.
Great.
Both of us would lose. So don't worry, you're covered.
Outside the 7-Eleven on whatever boulevard, 2 podcasters were dying. Did you call us podcasters?
Hey, come over here, feel my stab wound. Him and his friend got in this fight.
And they're
best
fighting
friend
people
died.
their age.
Yeah, probably. We don't
Age
know.
appropriate fights.
We don't know, probably,
Sure.
but we don't know. And his best friend dies, and this impacted him a lot. His mom was very active in the local church. And
Okay.
so he started coming to church with her, but he was not like into it. He would like show up drunk and stuff with like black
Sure.
eyes and, from the fight the night before.
Yeah. And the pastor also had black eyes, but couldn't tell anybody why. And so like the pastor's up there and he's there and like they're both like, we fought in the bar last night. But the pastor has to be like, I
wrestled with God last night.
wrestled with the Lord. A great temptation. I'll tell you what, I had a fight with this guy and he was so muscular and strong. Everything was in the right place.
Alvin's best friend dies in this fight.
Yeah, I know. He's already at church.
Oh, that's right.
He's
That's right.
always
So
at
he
church,
starts
yes.
going to church. He starts going to church. And the pastor finds out he's a decent singer. So he gets put in like the choir. And so he's singing every weekend at church, drunk. But he's there.
It's the only time he's got courage to sing.
And then one day, in the winter of 1913, his church, it was a normal chapel service. And then all of a sudden it went for 48 hours. And then people started posting on Twitter and coming across the country to be a part of it. No, but they did have
Louis Giglio showed up and they didn't let him on the platform.
They would have let him up.
Yeah.
They said, you're too famous for this. That's
That's a good litmus test. Maybe I should go to the Asbury revival and see if they let me on
See if they-
stage. And then that's
How
how I'll
famous
know
are ya?
if I'm famous enough.
Did you get to talk at the Asbury revival?
No, I was too famous. Put me on Winter Jam.
That's like in your media kit. Didn't get to talk it.
So is there a revival breakout in
So
this church?
a revival, they have like a revival service at
Okay.
the end of the
Last 48
of
hours.
1913. No, it was the end of 1913, December 1913. On January 1st, 1914, he has this big conversion experience where
Okay.
he's like, I'm leaving alcohol behind, I'm leaving the fights behind, and I'm following God.
Okay.
And the church he was a part of was an interesting church because it was kind of like a separatist church. They weren't associated with any other denominations. They broke off from a local Methodist church because just a few years ago during the Civil War, the members of that church congregation were appalled by all the people who were like fighting for slavery. And
Got
they were
it.
like, we don't like that. We don't like any of that. And so they broke off. They started their own church and they were like super pacifistic, like
Sure.
no violence whatsoever because they were so against everything that happened with slavery and the Civil War. And
Sure.
so he adopts all of those mentalities.
Okay.
He's like, I can't fight. I can't be violent. I can't do any of that. And then World War I starts.
Yeah.
And obviously anyone below the age of 30 and above the age of 21 had to register for the draft. And so
Shoot, dude. Do you think we'll still get drafted?
now it's 25. So we're free. We're home free. Unless things get worse.
Unless
If
things get real
if things
bad.
get bad, then they up it. But right now we're in the clear. So hopefully that sticks around.
Oh, man.
He was
I'm
close.
sorry to you,
was
Jaron,
29.
if you're in the trenches right now, 5 years from now, listening to our old podcast,
Just reliving the memory.
and you're just like freaking eating bugs and stuff.
Yeah. Jaron, I want you to reach down, feel the stab wound, and remember.
Great. That's good. Don't make me laugh. I got stabbed, dude. I do like the idea that in 5 years society's collapsed enough that we're in war.
And we're still listening to our
And we're listening to our
podcast.
podcast. That's what I didn't like the first part. I liked the bit.
That we've
I don't like the idea. I'm not like, I like the idea that our society would collapse. That's fun.
Downloaded them all onto an MP3 player. We've got old wired headphones that we're wearing in the war.
In the war.
Because I just assumed Bluetooth wouldn't work anymore.
That's
they
true.
broke it. The war broke Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Imagine the headlines. They broke Bluetooth.
But whatever we're reading the headlines on still works.
It's now a real paper.
Oh, okay.
They broke Bluetooth.
We're reading stone tablets, chiseled. It falls fast. So he gets drafted.
Well, in the draft, when he registered for the draft, he's 29 now. He's just barely in the cutoff.
Yeah.
When he registers, there's a line for conscientious objectors. And so he said, do you claim an exemption? And if you do, specify your grounds. And so he wrote in, remember, he went to school for 9 months. So he wrote, yes, don't want fight.
Don't want fight.
And they said, cool, you're going to war.
You sound dumb enough to be on the front lines. Let's do it.
They said, you sound like your parents taught you more about guns than words. So let's have you go.
Giddy up.
No,
they used him as a horse. That's what the giddy up was. He wasn't even a soldier. He had to have another guy on his back.
We need more horses.
He had to run in. And they made him neigh, too. Neigh! You know?
I just
imagine being so dumb that they're like, you're a horse.
Just imagine the German front lines on
It's
like
to
their
throw 'em
guard
off.
pit. And they're like, are those soldiers? Is that the cavalry coming in? The American cavalry? There's so many of them. Wait a second. Those aren't horses.
What are their horses?
Those are men?
Those are boys. Nay, men.
And none of them have teeth.
Stop. Okay.
So
Like, you don't have to fight. You gotta run in with the fighter on your back. Don't worry, he's small though.
he's so small.
He's such a small guy.
He'll be light. You can carry him.
He's like, well, yeah, horse jockeys are small dudes.
They
right?
are a little.
Hey, we want to figure out what the best episode of TILLN is, and that's why we're doing what, Tim?
It's a March Madness bracket for TILLN episodes.
Baby.
Yeah, baby.
We're going to do a March Madness bracket. If you want to vote for what you think is the best episode, we've narrowed it down to our top 32.
Yes, yeah. We've done
And
16 of my favorite, 16 of his favorite.
And we've pitted them against each other. And you can vote on which ones you think are better. If you want to do that, just text TILLN to 66866. You'll get the link, or go to TILLN.com. It's there. And
If you're a patron, this is super cool. You can actually make your own bracket to see if you can guess what you think is going to win
And why would
become
they
the
do
best
that, Tim?
episode. Oh, because we're going to give $100
To the winner.
To the winner of this bracket
everyone.
game. To everybody.
That's just kidding.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Cut that
We're
part
not
out.
doing
Cut that part out.
Cut
No,
it.
we are doing $100 to the winner who guesses the most things correctly on this bracket. But you have to be a Patreon supporter to win and can compete in that part. But you don't have to be a Patreon supporter to vote. So please do that. Text TILLN to 66866 or go to TILLN.com right now.
He gets the objector status, but the problem is in World War I, if you got objector status, you still had to serve in the war. You just didn't have to be violent. So you would like carry stuff around camp and drive the cars and stuff like
You
that.
still have to be part of the war.
Yeah, you're still part of it, but you're just not pulling the trigger. And they're like, that's fine. You're not, doing it. And after World War I, they were like, we don't want to do that either. And then in World War II, they were like, okay, you don't have to do anything.
You don't got to do anything. Just stand by. And
Yeah, you can be at home.
Sure.
But in World War I, they're like, you still got to go. And so he still had to go. And while he got shipped off and, war's happening, his commanding officer was also a religious person. And he basically coerced him into not being a pacifist anymore. He was like, God loves war. Read the Old Testament. And he was like, yeah, right. God does love war. And so then he was like, why don't you go home for like 2 weeks, talk to your family,
beat some people up,
pray about it, think about it, and then come back here and just kill a bunch of people. And so he did. He went home for a couple of weeks, got leave, prayed about it, talked to his pastor a little bit, and came back and said, "Captain, I'm back, ready to kill."
Did he say that?
Well, he didn't say that, but
okay.
But he did say, "I'm okay to fight.
Sure, let's do
feel
it.
good fighting." And so he gets put into.
Put me in, coach.
He gets put into Company G of the 328th Infantry, 82nd Division, and he gets shipped off to. He does a couple battles, and you know how war is. There's multiple battles, but eventually,
Sure.
He on October 8th, 1918, he was a part of the Meuse-Argonne Offensive. I'm not sure if I said that right. And his battalion was trying to capture what was known as Hill 223, which was in France along this railroad, like strategic railroad that they were trying to capture from the German military. And in the middle of this encounter, there was an enemy machine gun position, like fortified position, that had pinned them down, and they were shooting artillery at them, and they couldn't progress any further. And so the captain selected a group of 13 of his men, one of them being Alvin, and then 4 other officers. At the time, Alvin's a corporal. And then 4 other officers to try to flank them and take down that position. And so they go on this flanking route, and they get seen. And the machine guns open fire on them, and all 4 of the officers were killed. 3 other soldiers were injured. And so now there's 7 of them left. He becomes the commanding officer because he's the next in line after all the injuries.
Okay.
And the other people that were with him, he describes his experience in the war with a lot of the other people were super young that were in the war. They were all like 20, 21.
Yeah.
And he said that they often would kind of freeze up in these situations. And so everybody else he was with froze up, dove into cover, and he just laid down in the brush with his handgun because he somehow lost his rifle in the exchange. With his handgun against this fortified machine gun position, they said there's probably a dozen machine guns up there. He started just mowing people down with his handgun because his whole life he was backwoods Tennessee
shooting tins and squirrels and stuff.
So he was an incredible shot. And so he's just sitting there every time he sees someone poke their head up, and he's just clearing this fortified
with a handgun?
With a handgun.
Okay.
And just reloading his handgun, taking them out, killed a couple dozen German soldiers. And eventually one of their, like the commanding lieutenant at this fortified position, jumps up and empties a whole clip to try to take him out and just misses the entire thing. And so then he yells out and he says English. And Alvin says, "No, American."
It's good to know that person's always existed. English? Nah. Red-blooded American. Which, that does sound like a movie line, though. To be honest.
It does.
Pretty cool.
It does.
Pretty cool.
So he's like, "No, speak English." And he was like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, I guess.
And he's like, "Lay down your arms and we'll surrender." And so he's like, "I don't know what you want me to do this."
They're attached to me. I don't know what you want me to do. Lay down your gun.
Oh,
why don't you just say that?
Why did you say that?
Freaking.
And so one by one, the German soldiers start standing up from behind this.
And then he just...
behind the trenches. One of them does actually try to toss a grenade at him. And so that guy tosses a grenade and he just shot him on the spot and like rolled out of the way of the grenade. And then everybody else was like, "Okay, sorry, what do you need?" And they
What do you mean he shot the guy on the spot and rolled out of the grenade? Like
the guy threw a grenade at him.
And he
shot the guy and rolled away from the grenade like Rambo.
And
then
everyone else is like,
all the Germans are like, "Yeah, we don't want to mess with this guy."
So what?
Sorry about that guy.
What? What are you talking about?
That's what happened. And so they all surrendered. This whole encampment surrendered.
To one guy with a handgun?
Ended up being 132 German soldiers. And
none of them can count and be like, "There's no way he's got 132 bullets in this thing."
They were just, what happened was they were like, we can't kill this guy. Because they had a dozen machine guns shooting at this one dude. And he's just knocking everybody out. Their commander steps up and tries to do it. And he misses every shot. But this guy's not missing a single shot.
They even threw a grenade.
They even tried a grenade. And so they took 132 German soldiers back to camp, and they just marched them along.
All 7 of these guys?
Yeah. They marched.
Like, and he's up there like, ba, 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 ba. That's what his brain thinks. All
Yeah.
ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Oh, left. You fellas know where we were staying?
You guys got the room key?
Turns out I'm lost.
No, he said that he was nervous coming back to their camp because they had 132 German soldiers marching with them.
It was going to look like they were
they were attacking.
Yeah.
But luckily they saw him up front, and he was like English.
He's like, hey, American.
So they marched back in. And the general on the site was like, did you capture the whole German army, son? And he's like, nah, sir, only 132.
What'd they do with them?
They put them in, I don't know, their prisoner of war camp.
Oh, okay.
And this enabled the American victory in that battle. They were able to then progress past that point and win that battle. And so
they didn't have to put them in cages either. They were also scared of this guy. You know what I'm saying?
They were terrified.
It's kind of like an electric fence with a dog, you know? Eventually, you can take the electric fence away because the dog was just like, I'm not getting
I don't need to go anywhere near that.
Nah, that's fine.
So he earned a Distinguished Service Cross for this.
Okay.
Which later an investigation was done on what happened. They interviewed all the witnesses and stuff. And they're like, oh, no, he needs the Medal of Honor. And so they gave him the Medal of Honor for this, which was wild because he, not even a year ago, was like, yeah, I don't believe in violence. And then he became a Medal of Honor recipient and took what, I don't know this for sure, but what is probably the largest amount of POWs captured by a single person in one go. That's a huge amount.
Yeah.
In one succession.
There's fantasy stats, you know? Yeah, no, I got to check my fantasy platoon.
He ended up... He ended up receiving over
Getting
50...
on DraftKings, putting down a bet how many POWs this Tennessee kid's going to get.
He eventually got over 50 commendations in his career. And became... He came home, and when he came home from the war, it was like a humble homecoming. And then somebody in Tennessee found out about what he did, and they wrote an article about it, and then he became like super famous.
Hero. Yeah,
and everybody, it was a huge deal.
Hey, welcome back from the war. What happened? He was,
you know, it was just war.
War.
Yeah.
I was really just a pencil pusher when you really think about that.
There was one guy who thought I was in
Did you guys know we speak English?
And so he because of his fame, he started a nonprofit organization for Tennessee youth to be able to get to go to school, which probably was the scar from him not realizing the guy was asking if he spoke English.
Yeah. He's like, wow, that hurt me more than me killing that guy with the gun.
What?
I mean, like, he killed
that
several.
hurt me more.
Yeah, I know that I killed a lot of your friends, but you cut me deep with that. Like, no, idiot, English, that you speak it.
But yeah, this is Alvin. This is not him now.
That's him at 28?
Yeah, this is him then.
That's at 28 years old?
Yeah.
Man, we are doing good.
It depends what season of the world. This is wartime. So you know he wasn't doing it. I saw some guy talking about it. This is interesting you brought this up. I saw a guy talking about this on TikTok. I'm interested in your thoughts on this.
Okay.
He was talking about how like people who live through situations like this in their life are, he used the terms domesticated and wild. He said these people are wild. He said people who live in situations like ours are domesticated because they don't have like insane hardships that they have to go through in their life. And he says, so these...
What kind of TikTok are you watching, dude? What kind of wild at heart men's conference crap are you listening to? They're like, man,
we're domesticated
things like this.
boys.
We're just domesticated soy boys, dude.
Boys.
Look at us. We're just little.
This is a real wild man.
Okay.
No, but his point was like, if you look at the difference between a domesticated dog and a wild dog, they have different features and they act differently because one of them, all their needs are met. The other one, they have to meet all their own needs.
Okay.
And their own survival. And so they're
and this
wild.
is like some millionaire talking on this podcast, right?
No, I don't think he was a millionaire.
He didn't look like a millionaire?
He did not look like a millionaire. He could have been. And it would have been a left field surprise millionaire, you know? Like one of those ones where you're like, oh,
I imagine it's two bros in like oversized hoodies just sitting there, and one of them's like, yeah, bro. I mean, like, dude, you got to think about people like freaking Alvin Chipmunk, right? Who is a wild man. And really, when you think about it, like girls only want wild men.
We're just domesticated now, bro. And I don't want to be domesticated.
You're domesticated.
I'm not domesticated.
I've broken free.
I'm wild. I've been released.
I've
been delivered.
I got in touch with the sun, dude. And like the natural rhythms of nature. And that's, you know, I'll tell you what, one of the hardest thing I ever went through was when one of my 7 rental properties, one of them wanted cheaper rent. And I was like, I can look at hardships and I can go, this sucks. Or I can go, this is going to make me wild.
Yeah, you're making me wild right now, bro. He's on the phone with his tenant. And he's like, you're going to make me wild, bro.
Stop.
You want to pay $50 less a month? You're making me wild.
He's growling. He's freaking hissing on the phone. What was that? You're making me wild. What?
Bro, I think you need to move. Your landlord.
Yeah, dude. My landlord is wild. My landlord came over shirtless, ripped shirt, and was just ripping grass out of the yard.
Ripping grass out of the yard. Yeah.
Put it in his mouth, dirt hanging out, mud everywhere.
I'm pretty sure he got hair plugs in his chest.
You know? What kind of TikToks are you watching? That's what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know. I'm just curious what you think about that.
Well, I don't know, man. There's 2 dogs inside all of us. You know? And they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Which one's going to win?
Which one's going to win?
The one that's wild, bro.
It's the wild. It's not the little beagle.
It's not the one you feed either.
It's not going to be a beagle.
The one you feed is domesticated. That's the message.
Yeah.
The one you feed, you've domesticated it. Now you've ruined that dog.
Don't feed that dog.
Don't feed that dog. Let the starved one become wild.
Do you want to be a little lassie or do you want to be a snow dog?
You just gave an example of 2 domesticated dogs.
Yeah, but the domesticated snow dogs are cooler dogs. They're
but one of them was outside.
Yeah. Do you want to be? You want to be a snow dog? You want to be a snow dog, or you want to be a service animal for a middle-aged white lady in Indiana who definitely paid a lot of money for a service dog, even though she has 0 mental illness.
Do you want to be a snow dog?
Or physical disabilities.
Do you want to be a snow dog or do you want to be Air Bud?
Yeah, dude.
I'd probably want to be Air Bud.
Who's the real man?
Anyways, so that's Alvin York. I'm going to be honest. This was all a segue. I want to talk about the Polish war hero. Poland's got a big war hero too.
Okay.
Nicknamed the Bear. His name's Wojtek.
How long are we into this episode?
About 30 minutes.
This is where you're pivoting?
Yeah, this is where I'm pivoting.
Okay. The Bear?
Yeah. So
this guy
Poland
sounds wild.
Poland has a war hero. His name is Wojtek. Can you say that? Wojtek.
Wojtek.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
Dora the Explorer me again, dude. I'll go wild on you.
You say Wojtek.
Okay, so
say Wojtek.
The Bear?
The Bear. Here's a picture of him. He's the bear. He's the one that's a bear. It's Wojtek, the bear. He's an actual bear. That's
wait,
why
you're
they call him
serious?
the bear. Yeah,
you're serious?
100% serious.
Wait. What are you talking about?
This is Wojtek the bear.
I thought you were going to talk about the guy holding him.
No, they didn't call him. They didn't call him the bear because he was like a tough guy. They called him a bear because he was a literal bear.
And he was their war hero?
So here's what happened. At the beginning of World War II,
We're talking about a war bear right now?
Yes.
We got to make a movie of this already. I don't even know the story, but it's going to be called Modern War Bear.
Modern War Bear. So a group of Polish soldiers were released from the Soviet Union. They were prisoners of war in the Soviet Union. They were riding a train back. And on the train ride, there was a little boy on the train who had a bag with him. And one of the soldiers was like, "Hey, son, why is your bag moving?" And he was like, "Well,
I have a bear."
Truth be told, I found a bear cub.
No way.
And he's got a bear cub in the bag. And he's like, "I think some hunters killed its mom." So I picked it up and I put it in this bag. And for some reason,
They were like, we're gonna need to take that bear, son.
the soldiers were like, "Name your price." And so they traded him a few bucks, like some drinks and a bar of chocolate for this bear.
Did you say some drinks? How old is this kid?
I mean, not like it was like juice, you know. they're like, "Here's some
Way to
juice."
cover for it, dude.
No, it was literally.
No, these are
juice.
Polish prisoners of war, dude. They're gonna give a kid alcohol in exchange for a bear.
Yeah, they're just like, here's a flask.
Bro,
Give
but
us
I mean,
the bear.
let's say you're 7, dude. I mean, freaking, you've got a small bear in your backpack. Dude, imagine you don't trade the soldiers, right? And you go to 2nd grade, some kid next to you is pulling out a teddy bear, and you pull out a teddy bear, dude.
You're like, "Oh, that's cool. Look what
Oh,
I got."
that's nice. My bear is gonna literally kill your bear.
Can you imagine being a teacher on show and tell day
And a
your
kid whips out
pulls
a bear?
and it's like,
That's the kid. That's not even the bear, dude.
yeah, he
What?
pulls the bear out, sets it on the ground, and then he goes,
goes,
"All hail bear!"
And the bear is just like bearing around,
sitting
whatever
there.
bear. Dude, bears are pretty chill.
They are pretty chill. And so these Polish
why I have
soldiers,
Bro, my apartment complex is gonna be so mad when they find out about my inflatable hot tub and my bear. I ain't paying pet rent for that.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you're enjoying it, make sure you subscribe. And while you're at it, leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening, leave a review. That stuff really helps a lot. It really boosts us in the algorithms and makes sure a lot more people get to see what we're doing. And so we appreciate that a ton. Leave that comment, leave that review, and we'll see you in the next episode. So these soldiers, they started raising this bear. They ended up on like back in camp, like, you know, not doing any war stuff because they just got back from war prison. And so, like,
Okay.
you guys got some time, chill, recoup. And so they're raising this bear, and it became kind of like a part of their company. They were
Their squad.
they were Unit
They're-
3522 of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. And so this bear was like a part of them, the 3552. And so they raised this bear, and the bear, I mean, it was 1940s Poland. And so the bear like started mimicking all the soldiers. So the bear would drink beer, a lot of beer. And the bear would,
What kind of beer does the bear like?
I don't know,
Bush.
maybe.
Oh, that Bush. Yeah, that's our
That's
bear
a bear
beer.
bush.
That's our bear beer.
And so, yeah, the bear would drink beer, and it would eat like human food, like whatever they would give the bear, whatever they had that was available for them. And then it really enjoyed marmalade, honey, syrup, but also very much enjoyed smoking cigarettes. They would give the bear a cigarette and they would light it, and he would take a puff and then eat the burning cigarette. The interesting thing is if they tried to give him an unlit cigarette, he would spit it out. He's like, give me a lit cigarette. I want them. Because this bear, because they got him at such a young age, thought he was one of them. Like, and so he's like, I see them all with the lit cigarettes and they're putting them in their mouth and they must be eating them. And so he was just trying to fit in. He was trying to be a part of the culture.
Now, yeah, I remember when I was a freshman in high school and I ate a lit cigarette to try to fit in with some kids.
All these kids are eating cigarettes.
Whoa, all the cool kids are eating cigs.
Hey kids, I'm one of you.
Where you just talk about it at lunch. You've never been around a cigarette a day in your life. Like, oh yeah, dude, I ate a whole pack.
Excuse me, you
Someone's
what?
What'd you say?
Did you say you ate a whole
Freaking
pack?
threw back like a whole pack of Marlboros. Did you say Marlboros?
Marbles. A whole pack of marbles.
Marlboros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I eat cigs.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
Tastes great. Burn on the way down, you know?
You're eating lit cigarettes? Mm-hmm.
I like spicy.
Oh, you're not? Poser.
Yeah, you loser. I'll see you at the skate park.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Dude,
Like right
kid's
now.
suffering, dude. He's green. You know, golly.
Why are
dude.
you that color,
You
bro?
can't digest that much. Holy cow.
But yeah, so he Voynick is the or Void. What is
Wojtek?
Wojtek. Wojtek is the name that they gave him. It's actually kind of cool. It comes from. Hold on, let me scroll down and get this right. It comes from like a local phrase, which means happy warrior. And so it grew up alongside them and became like their mascot. And everybody in the community loved him. He actually wrestled with the soldiers. And they would get in circles and wrestle this full-grown brown bear. And then, like, if it was really cold, it was the sweetest little bear. If it was really cold, it would find its favorite soldiers, and it would come snuggle up with them at night to keep them warm. Like, it was a really, like, gentle giant bear, you know?
Yeah, and then he killed the whole pack. I know how these stories go.
Well, there was the 22nd Company of the 3522. They got sent out to the Italian campaign in the war, and for some reason, that I want to know more context about why. I haven't been able to find it. But for some reason,
the bear comes with.
No, for some reason, Poland had a policy that mascots and pets aren't allowed on their ships already. So apparently somebody
That was
else had
already in
tried
writing?
this. That was already a policy.
No. Not after last month's war goat. Okay, someone tried to bring the bill. No, not on this boat. All right, no goats on this boat.
And so the
no-go
22nd
boat.
Company, they enlisted him in the Polish army, and it worked.
Or does he show up with his ID and it's just like, "Brr," and they're like, wow, dude, you're really hairy.
So he got officially drafted into the army, became a private. And he was Private Wojtek. He had his own paybook, rank, serial number, and he lived with the other men on the ship. Or sometimes they put him in a wooden crate, depending on the scenario. But normally with the other men in the 22nd Division. And so everybody else, there's like a lot of divisions on the ship. Everybody
else
is
like,
on
there's
the
a
boat.
bear on the boat.
Imagine day like 17 on your journey on the boat.
Day 2, kind of cool. It's cool there's a bear in that platoon. That's really neat. That's pretty funny. They found a bear cub and they raised it as their own. Day 17, you're like, holy crap, that's a real bear.
That's a real bear.
And they're not joking.
I'm saying, like, imagine day 17, you didn't know there's a bear in 22nd Company, and you like go into the latrine.
And it's, and it's just peeing in a urinal. It's just in there. It knows what to do.
And you're just like, we're in the middle of the ocean.
How did you
Where did
get
this
here?
bear come from?
Are you a sea bear? That's a sea bear.
There's a sea bear in the latrine.
Okay. And the bear turns around and goes,
Well, they did teach it to salute. So
well,
it would
yeah,
salute
that's what I'm
me.
saying. And it's a higher rank than you, too. And you got to salute the bear back. And you're like, all right, sorry. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Well, it would mimic those other soldiers. So this bear walked on its hind legs and like marched in formation with the other soldiers.
Yeah,
would
I'm
salute,
sure.
like do all the things. And they get out to the front lines and at the Battle of Monte Cassino. And the 22nd Company, they were an artillery supply company. So their main job was to supply the artillery guns in the front line. And so they were carrying crates of artillery up to the front lines. And he saw the rest of his company doing that. And so he starts picking up crates of artillery and carrying it up to the gun positions and following his soldiers because he's like, well, that's what we're all doing. He's like, I'm one of you. And so...
No, you're joking.
I'm 100% serious. After this battle, he got promoted to a rank of corporal because of his service in the battle, and it was pivotal in the battle. He could carry more than everybody, so he was carrying more ammunition than everybody else.
He's a bear, dude. Everyone else is like, frick, man. He didn't even work out.
The 3522 division changed their insignia. To remember Wojtek the bear.
For the audio listener, it's a bear holding a missile. It's the outline of a bear holding a missile. That's what you're missing out on.
It looks like a military patch, and it says 3522. And then it's the
wow. I want that on a hat. So
it's
bad.
so cool. And after the war, they made dozens of these statues of this bear carrying,
looking so happy too. Everyone else is like freaking fretting because
like,
war. They're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die. Here, get this to the front lines now. Okay, stab right out. And then this bear's just like,
I'm part of this.
I love war.
Anybody got any cigarettes? I'm hungry.
I'm so glad you didn't make me go home with that kid.
Can you imagine what I'd be carrying in his house?
Look how happy that bear looks.
He's so happy.
So where's that bear today?
So after the war, they took him to the zoo. And the zoo was like, yeah, we'll put him with our other brown bears.
Yeah, no, we'll make him a zookeeper.
They put him with the other brown bears.
Yeah, he hated it.
He couldn't connect with them.
Yeah.
They couldn't connect with him.
Nothing
he
to
thought
talk
he was a
about.
soldier.
You know why? They were domesticated and he was wild. He'd been through some stuff.
Reverse.
And they're like, no, we're wild bears. They brought us from the woods. You're domesticated. And he goes,
Have you guys seen someone get
he's
shot?
got his little napkin that he eats with, and he's like, no.
No.
I don't think you know the things I've seen.
Will you pass me the marmalade?
Please.
So they had to create a new enclosure just for him, so that way the other bears didn't mess with him because they didn't get along. So he got a private enclosure, and the 35 22nd Division
Was like, we want to see him.
well, they would come visit him all the time, and they would jump the fence and go wrestle with him and bring him cigarettes and beer and just hang out with him in the zoo.
All right, kids, come on over here. You're a second grade teacher. All right, kids, come on over here. And so we got the brown bears. The brown bears, they live in this part of the country. And, oh, hold on. One of the zookeepers is down there feeding that bear. Let's see what he's feeding. Probably salmon,
I think
That is Bush Light.
cigarettes.
Okay, kids. So suddenly this is a let's talk about peer pressure. Okay? Just say no.
This is how Dare got started.
The Dare Bear.
Yeah, so this guy, Wojtek, became a war hero in Poland in his own right.
The War Bear.
The War Bear. But he ended up in 1963. He passed away at the age
That's
of
such
21.
a long time, though.
Yeah. He successful war bear, the most successful war bear in history.
It makes you think, you know. I mean, you know, where do we find a bear cub?
Apparently on a train into Poland.
What other podcast just has a bear sitting in the corner?
This is like a guest.
Dude, Alex is getting kind of expensive.
Our audio engineer is a literal bear.
Yeah.
You think we're joking, but he's a literal bear.
Yeah. We're gunning for that top podcast spot. 3 bears.
Not wild.
It's
domesticated.
Pretty domesticated.
Pretty domesticated.
Bro, that's not cool at all, man.
That's so domesticated.
Bro, that's wild, man.
Yeah, that's domesticated.
Dude, that sounds pretty domestic.
It's a scale. It's just like wet. It's a scale.
All right. Is that what you want to end on? Well, do you want those to be your last words before you're mauled by a bear?
It's just like wet. Yeah, anyways. And one of the most impressive things is that in the middle of that campaign in Italy also had a war tiger. They had a war tiger.
You couldn't think of any animals from Italy? You were like, tigers.
Well, I was trying to think of another ferocious animal.
Tigers.
They had a war tiger. And the Italians, you know how they are. They're artsy.
Yeah. Go out there and fiddle off that bear. Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. You're probably asleep right now because you let it keep playing. But if you aren't asleep, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you get more videos. And also, if you can't wait for more, we've got plenty of other episodes and highlight clips, just some of our funniest parts, the things we enjoy the most. This show is an absolute blast, and I cannot thank you enough for being here.